Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back to the Feel Good Factor. I'm Susmita Veganosaurus and I'm so glad you could join me here today. I had my first experience of a pure social media detox just a couple of days ago. I woke up on Sunday morning not feeling very well. No, don't worry, it's not corona. It's just that I was feeling extremely drained and tired, a complete lack of energy. Normally, on days like this, what I do is I don't do any work and instead I just curl up in bed and I either read books, watch TV, get online. Yeah, getting online is a big part of my self care regimen. But this time I decided that getting online would add unnecessary mental burden to me. The problem with social media is that you can't go in and do just one thing. There are so many distractions. You start watching somebody's video, then go to some other post, and then start commenting somewhere else, and then see what's happening. And then there's a notification about some message that someone sent. You just keep jumping from one place to another, to another, to another. There is no stillness when you get online, and especially when you get onto social media. What we might consider as a form of entertainment or distraction actually is a lot of mental burden. It taxes your brain because you're jumping from one thing to another and another, and the brain is really, really active throughout the time that you're online. Next time you get onto Facebook, Instagram, or even checking your emails or anything, observe how you cannot stay in one place and you'll constantly be thinking of the next place that you want to jump to. Even if you're watching a video on YouTube, you'll be ready to jump to the next video. Or if you are checking your emails, you'll be wondering what's happening on Instagram, who's liked your post, and are you getting comments, and so on. So there's this constant pull, there's this addiction that'll make you jump from one place to another and another. This is one of the reasons I deactivated my account on Facebook over a year ago because I felt it was taking too much of my mental capacity and just sucking a lot of my time. Here's the thing, you can't just go in, post, and get out. That just doesn't happen. You will get sucked in. For the longest time, I used Facebook, Instagram, all these. I use the excuse that I have my businesses that I need to promote there, so I have to be online. But whenever I'd go in to post, especially on Facebook, I'd then just get sucked into notifications, into the groups, into activities, sometimes even into arguments and deep discussions. And then, just like that, a few hours of my day would have disappeared. I wouldn't have done anything productive. When I quit Facebook, I had this deep sense of releasing a burden that I'd been carrying with me for a long time. This responsibility of checking my notifications, responding to them, liking, commenting, that just felt like so much hard work and not fun anymore. But when I quit Facebook, it didn't mean that I quit all of social media. What I did do was focused all my attention on Instagram instead. Yes, I consciously avoided getting onto other social media platforms like Twitter, Pinterest, and whatnot. However, Instagram was still taking quite a bit of my time. Between Instagram and then WhatsApp and Telegram and my emails and everything, there was plenty of distractions on my phone to keep me occupied all day long. So on Sunday, when I wasn't feeling too well, I went into my phone's settings and I locked all my apps. There is an option, luckily, on my phone where all apps get locked and then you have to put an effort to unlock it each time. It's only 2 clicks away to unlocking each app, but it is still 2 clicks. And without realizing it, I'm not opening anything or reading things. Because that's what happens, right? You pick up your phone and before you know it, you're just in one app and then you're doing something and then another. Half the time you're finding yourself in the place. You don't even realize how you got there because there's a lot of activity that you do unconsciously. Open WhatsApp, check. Open Telegram, check. Open Instagram, check. Open your emails and check. And then the cycle again and again and again without even realizing you're doing it most of the time. But when you log the apps, what happens is it brings it to your attention that, you're actually trying to get into this app. Do you really want to get into it? So on Sunday, I locked all my apps, and throughout the day, no matter what happened, no matter how tempted I was, I did not open them. I did not unlock them. I didn't even turn on the internet on my phone. There were times throughout the day where I thought of someone, I thought of a friend, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to send this to someone, or I need to message them and say this. There were many things that came into my mind through the day, but no matter how tempted I was like, no, I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm not going to do this today. And I let it go. Believe me when I say my mind has never been more still than it was on Sunday. I was like really, really calm and peaceful. It doesn't mean I was sitting and meditating all day long. No, I was reading books. I was on Netflix. Yeah, it was a 99% internet detox. So, no social media, no emails, no messages, nothing. But Netflix was allowed. But even that was a huge deal for me to be able to cut off from everything else. I was so happy with this feeling that the very next day, when I did get online, I posted on my Instagram story about this whole 1 day detox of the internet. I wrote about how amazing it made me feel, and I even said that I would do this once a week every Sunday, possibly, because it felt really great. My friend Shrikar saw the post and he messaged me asking, but why? Why did you do it? Until now, whenever I have discussed detoxing from the internet, detoxing from social media with friends or anybody, nobody has actually asked the question why. For some reason, they seem to understand that, yeah, it is actually a good thing to do without questioning why it's a good thing to do. When faced with the possibility of an internet detox, the first question that comes into people's mind is not why, but how? How can I even do it? How can I stay off the internet? So when Shrikar asked this question, I had to think a bit about it. Well, the short answer to it is for peace of mind. Simple as that. Because if nothing else, disconnecting from the world and checking in with yourself, being with yourself, it really, really calms you, makes you still, and gives you a lot of peace of mind. But more importantly, the question is, why do you want the peace of mind? What purpose does it serve? Doesn't connecting with people online and being entertained hold the same value as being alone and getting peace of mind? The thing is, when you are still, when you're disconnected, and when you are by yourself, you start getting into this whole mode of receptivity. You are aligned more closely with the universal energy. Often, we are so mired in distractions that we rarely have the time to spend with our own selves and check inside, with our mind, with our heart, with our soul, reflect on what we're actually feeling, reflect on our thoughts, and reflect on what we want out of life. Often we use our external distractions to keep us from thinking about life, asking the important questions, because we are afraid to check what is actually within us, check what is actually happening within us. That's because once the thoughts start, they can take any direction. Sometimes being alone and thinking can also lead to worry, fearful thoughts, anxiety, all kinds of stuff. But then, if you actually spend some time consciously acknowledging these feelings and thoughts that you have, because these feelings and thoughts, negative thoughts, these fears, anxieties, they are not anywhere else, they are already inside you. It's just that with these distractions, we are ignoring them. However, when we spend some time with these thoughts and feelings, we acknowledge them, we feel them, and then we let them go with love, then we reach this point of beautiful peace, contentment, and stillness. There's this wonderful space created inside, and that is the place from which you can manifest. You can attract all the things that you want into your life. Now, the universe is always sending things to you, always sending you what you want, always sending you your desires. But often we are not receptive to them. Either we are creating blocks to receiving this beautiful energy that's coming to us from the universe, or we are completely ignoring it. So, being in stillness helps you become a very powerful magnet. And the best part is, not having 100 thoughts running in your mind and being still will also help you be very, very clear on what you actually want. Often, all of us, we know what we don't want. We're like, oh, this is bad. I don't want this job. I don't want this person in my life. I don't want this annoyance or irritation or anything. But how often do you actually spend time thinking of what you do want? Like, clearly, what do you want in life? The wants can be in terms of material things or situations or success or love or anything like that. But more importantly, the question comes down to, what feelings do you want to feel? That kind of a clarity will totally help the universe send you what you want into your life. And you will not get that kind of a clarity when you are constantly online on social media or checking emails or checking messages and getting distracted. Now, let me tell you, for quite a while now, for many years now, I've turned off all notifications on my phone. So, as it is, I check the internet or get online on my own terms. I do not get notification or sounds or anything whenever I have received any email or message or any activity on my social media channels. That itself created a lot of freedom for me. And plus, I turn off the internet on my phone whenever I'm not using my phone. That is a very powerful move again, because it's a process. You're making the effort to turn it off, so there's that signal that's gone into your brain that says, okay, for now, your internet time is over. Then you can go back after a while when you want to check everything again, turn on the internet, check everything, turn it off, and keep your phone away. That's a great practice in itself, and that helps you disconnect throughout the day, or rather, make only certain pockets in your day through which you connect into the internet. But even though I did all this, it still wasn't that 100% stillness and peace of mind, because the moment you start with one activity, you get online and you check your messages, notifications, likes, comments, whatever. Even when you get offline, you have it running in your head constantly. It's an addiction. If I'm doing something at home, if I'm cooking or doing any other activities, I'm often thinking like, oh yes, I have to post this on my Instagram stories. Sometimes it's just for the fun of doing it, for the vanity, for just showing what I'm doing, yes. But for me, most often it's also about, okay, how is this information going to help somebody or inspire somebody or give them ideas? And that's the reason I do stories a lot of the times. But that isn't a good enough reason to constantly be connected and constantly be thinking of, okay, is this content that I can post about? Is this something that I can speak about? That is not a very healthy way to live life, because half your mind is always connected to online, the people who are following you and the response that you're going to be getting, versus actually being completely in the moment that you are in right now. So this is where the 100% detox for those 24 hours, this is where this helped. Because you aren't going to get online today no matter what. Then what happens is you let go. Your brain doesn't start thinking that, oh, okay, so this can go on to my stories, this can go on to my post, this is a message I can share with a friend. Nope, because there is no internet for the day. So if you're not getting online at all, You might ask, what do you do with your whole day? On your detox day, what do you do? How do you spend your time? You can take it step by step like me. Mine was that 99% detox where I'm disconnected from social media, messages, email. However, that 1% of internet usage is there where I'm watching some TV, Netflix, Amazon Prime, whatever. But yes, the long term goal is to have a complete digital detox. Even if it's just for one day in the week, a complete 100% digital detox where you aren't getting online for anything, no matter what. There is zero dependency on the internet. You aren't going to even get online to Google if you have a doubt about something. It can wait till tomorrow. So then what do? You can read a book, you can write, you can do something creative. Of course, if you meditate, that's great because you're already in that mode of receptivity. Journal, sit and write down what you want. Visualize. When I was growing up, I was such a daydreamer. I used to spend hours together alone quietly in my room, just staring off into space and dreaming, like just imagining things. Life felt like there was so much potential, and I couldn't wait to experience all these amazing things that were waiting for me. In fact, even throughout my school days, I used to sit in class, but my brain used to wander off into some kind of an imagination, some kind of a story, some kind of a dream or visualization. One of my teachers, Mrs. Barbara Thomas, used to call me Alice in Wonderland. She was my music teacher plus an algebra teacher, and she used to often catch me in her class just dreaming away. Like, I would be watching her teach, and then suddenly my mind would be somewhere else. And honestly, I don't know where my mind used to go, but all I know is it used to feel great to daydream. It was such a wonderful, wonderful feeling. The moment internet and social media started, my habit of daydreaming just reduced, and dwindled away completely. And that's a sad thing because years later, when I got into spirituality, Reiki, manifestation, studying more about this, I realized that the daydreaming that I used to do was nothing but visualization. It was creative visualization. And creative visualization sends a message to the universe about what you want and helps the universe bring those things to you. Here I was naturally good at this, but I had completely forgotten to do it and I'd completely forgotten how to do it, all because of spending my time being online, being distracted. So, yeah, if you ask me what I'll be doing on my days of detoxing from the internet, the answer is I'm gonna just lie back, stare off into space, and do some creative visualization, aka daydreaming. And the fun part was on Monday when I went back online, there was some kind of an excitement which isn't there normally. Normally, it's like an addiction. I have to check, I have to see what's happening. This FOMO, this fear of missing out, so I get online and I check. Whereas when I went back online on Monday, it was more like going back to school after holidays. Yeah, nobody wants to go back to school. You enjoy your holidays. But also because you've been home for 2 months, there is this kind of newness and excitement about getting right back to school, meeting friends, talking to everybody, looking forward to something. That's the kind of feeling I had when I got back online on Monday. Especially for those of us who either run our businesses online or if our businesses depend heavily on online social media work and promotion, being on the internet can be equal parts fun and a chore. It feels like work. It feels like, oh, I have to do this, so I'm going to get online and do this. But after a detox, it doesn't feel like a chore anymore. It feels fun again. And as I've spoken so many times on the podcast, feeling good, having fun is the key to life. So find things that make you feel good, and if they stop feeling good, step away from them and make sure that they feel good once again before you get back to them. Simple as that. I don't know if I'm going to do this every Sunday like I said I would, or maybe some other part of the week, but I do know that it did me a world of good. So I'm surely going to put my effort to do this kind of a detox at least once a week. Maybe more in the long run, who knows? So I hope that you'll join me on this once a week internet detox to see what it feels like. And if you try it, I'd love to hear from you. Come and tell me what you felt. Let's go through this journey together. Let's share the process together. Yeah? Well, it was great talking to all of you today. Catch you again next week.
If you enjoyed this episode of The Feel Good Factor, write to me at thefeelgoodfactor@veganosaurus.com or connect with me on Instagram at Veganosaurus. VEGANOSAURUS. And if you have an iPhone, I'd really appreciate a review and rating on Apple Podcasts. In case you don't have an iPhone, please leave me a review and rating on podchaser.com. You can find my podcast there by going to podchaser.com/veganosaurus, and you can rate and review not just the podcast but any episode that you like.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Feel Good Factor. I'm Susmita Veganosaurus, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again very soon. Bye!